ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां रामो राजमणिः सदा विजयते रामं रमेशं भजे रामेणाभिहता निशाचरचमु रामाय तस्मै नमः रामान्नास्ति परायणं परतरं रामस्य दासोऽस्म्यहम् रामे चित्तलयः सदा भवतु मे भो राम मामुद्धर समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः 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 फोर्थ मंत्र थर्ड मुंडक फर्स्ट खंड प्राणो ह्येष यः सर्वभूतैर्विभाति विजानन् विद्वान् भवतेनातिवादी आत्मक्रीड आत्मरतिः क्रियावान् एष ब्रह्मविदां वरिष्ठः This mantra gave the expression of knowledge in the life of that Jnani. One who sees every being, one who sees his whole creation as the self, not self in creation. Self alone has become creation. Prano hi eshah yah sarvabhutair vibhati. Self alone is shining as all beings. Vijanan vidwan bhavate nativadi. Once he knows this, he doesn't become argumentative about anything. Atma kridah atma ratihi. He sports with the self, understanding mithyatva of ahankara and mithya ahankara knowing itself to be Paramatma. Mayatma, knowing itself to be Paramatma, that itself is a sporting. Knows consciousness as his own true nature. Atma Ratihi, and he loves the self. Kriyavan, most of his actions are rooted in self-knowledge. For the sake of self-knowledge, he doesn't do anything in this world to become happy, because he has discovered a very superior, a more superior source of happiness, more lasting and absorbing. His kriya doesn't become bahya kriya. Bahya kriya means those actions which are done to be happy. So jnana, dhyana, vairagya. These three are his kriya. Esha Brahma Vidam Varishta. This person is supreme most knower of Brahman. Atma Krida, if you want to look at a poetic description of it, we will find that in Gopika Geet. The gopis are the Jnanis over here who are doing Krida. They are sporting with Bhagwan Krishna, who represents the self. What is it that takes mind away from the Lord? It's our own abhimana. The story before Gopika Geet is every gopi feels I am very special. Bhagwan is giving exclusive attention only to me. And that when that thought comes, Bhagwan disappears. Then to get the glimpse of the Lord again, they sing Gopika Geet. So Bhagwan Krishna is Pranaha. And gopis are the Jnanis who have this knowledge and they want to sport with the Lord. Whenever there is sporting, whenever there is Rati, another name of Rati is Rasa. Rasa means there is lot of joy. That Rasa becomes Rasa. When we say Rasa Panchadhyayi, what it means is the joy that the gopis got reveling in the Lord. Now this Brahmavidam Varishta, best amongst knowers of Brahman, we had seen 7 stages. The advantage of seeing it in stages is we get clarity on where we should be at every stage. Just like project completion, you have percentage. At this date, you have to be 70% done. At another date, you should be 80% done. That way we have clarity on where we are right now and where we are headed. Even if you are making some food item, now the final ingredient, final product, this is how it should look. But if somebody tells you stages, these are 5 steps. If your atta is like this, your final product will be good. So in between, you can course correct. If step number 2 is not right, last step will not be right. But we have to remember, take the example of 10th man. All of you know that example, right? 10th man thinks he is lost, he is crying, and he finally comes to know, I am the 10th man. Now you can show 7 stages in the attainment of the 10th man. But what is the relation between the 10th man and the stages? Means if you do some stage more or less, will the 10th man get affected by it? No, 10th man is already attained. It is only how his mind comes to this fact that 10th man is already attained. In that journey, the steps are helpful. So really speaking, the steps and 10th man, they are not connected. Means those steps don't affect the 10th man. In the same way, these 7 steps, they talk about the journey of the mind of a Brahmajnani. They don't affect nature of Atma. And what is knowledge telling us? I am Atma. So we should not tie it with any other metric. So that's why we saw the example of the last two steps. You will find only in Puranas. And if you make that as the metric of moksha, we will again struggle. Means you should not eat, you should not see the world, sit down in one place, and silence the mind all the time. This is that becomes a different path altogether. But what should we take away from the 7 steps? How should our journey be towards self-realization? See, Patanjali Maharshi, he says one of the obstacle is alabdha bhumikatvam. Alabdha bhumikatvam means a student feels he has reached a place where he has not actually reached. Alabdha bhumika. In meditation, he says this can happen. Student might feel he has reached the goal which he has not really reached. So these 7 steps tell us what is the goal and how we should move towards it. We'll quickly recap what we saw. The first stage was Shubhecha. Shubhecha means that person has sadhana chatushtaya. In particular, he has great vairagya and mumukshutva. Shankaracharya says in Viveka Chudamani, if vairagya and mumukshutva are there, viveka and shamadhi shatta sampatti, they are naturally there. Because viveka is the cause for vairagya. And shamadhi shat sampatti is the cause for mumukshutva. If a result is seen, the cause has to be there. So with lot of punya karma, nishkama karma, selfless action, he gets all these qualifications, sadhana chatushtaya, through devotion to the Lord. Then what happens? He goes to the second stage of vicharana. So that mumukshutvam is not ripened unless he goes to a teacher. Guru Upasatti, for gaining systematic knowledge, that is a step in vicharana. Now in vicharana, what does he do? Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam. And not casually. Shravanam, mananam, nididhyasanam with commitment, where he is able to reflect upon this truth, understand the essence of what is being told. And he strives to meditate. That becomes the second stage of vicharana. So he has lot of shraddha, lot of bhakti. The combination of shraddha bhakti leads to good vicharana. Then the third step is tanu manasa. That meditation that he is doing, he is actually able to dissociate with his body and mind and pay attention to the self, devoid of conditioning. We had seen this in Viveka Chudamani. What does it mean to pay attention to self without objectifying it? Because on one hand, they say self cannot be objectified, self is not an object of mind. And in the same breath, they say shift attention to the self. So how can I shift attention to something which is not an object of the mind? So shifting attention to the self means shifting attention away from not self. So currently we experience self and not self together. Atma and body, Atma and mind, they are experienced together. When we stop paying attention to body, understand falsity of body and mind. That itself is called paying attention to self. The example we had seen was if there is light all around and you say, pay attention to light, it is hard to pay attention. But if you bring your hand and say, pay attention to that light which is getting reflected from this hand, pay attention to that light which is illumining this hand. Minus light, you can't see the hand. So, what is light? Light is that which illumines the hand. What has this step done? It has brought my attention to light. But what is the relationship between light and hand? No relation. Light is independent of hand, but hand is helpful to shift attention to light. Hand represents Anatma, light represents Atma. So in Tanu Manasa, what are we doing? From Anatma, first we are recognizing Atma. So through thoughts, we are recognizing Atma as witness of thought. But our meditation is not on thought. Meditation is on the witness. So what is Tanu Manasa? I should be able to pay attention to the self devoid of thoughts. But if thoughts disturb, we say use Vairagya to quieten the thoughts and use some of those thoughts to shift attention back to the self. So Anatma can be used to shift attention to Atma. And then we can use some Atma Lakshana. That I am Asanga, I am infinite, I am Nirvikara. All of those are meditation pointers. So that is Tanu Manasa, where mind has become thinned. Thin mind, Tanu means thinning down. Generally, our mind can pay attention only to gross objects. So here it's able to pay attention to the self. Then comes the fourth step, Sattvapattihi. See, Tanu Manasa, one can do only with Tvam-pada Vichara. I am the witness of thoughts. You can meditate on that. But in Sattvapatti, Tat-pada Vichara also should be done. Means Mahavakya Vichara is a part of Sattvapatti. That's why if you noticed, what are the characteristics of Sattvapatti? Brahmakara Vritti Udaya happens and Mahavakya Anubhava happens. Mahavakya Anubhava means this person is able to say, I am Brahman, this is my experience. Means this is my conviction. Whatever is said in Mahavakya is true for me. And avidya in the form of I am a jiva. That avidya is removed. Okay, this is the fourth step, Sattvapatti. The title given to such a Jnani is Brahmavit. Brahmavit, knower of Brahman. What is the uniqueness of Sattvapatti compared to Tanu Manasa? Tanu Manasa is I am the self. Sattvapatti is I am that infinite self. And this world is an appearance in the self. That person is called Brahmavit Sattvapatti. Then with this abhyasa taking root, that Sattvapatti itself transforms to Asamsakti. What happens in Asamsakti? This knowledge of Mahavakya starts sporting in his life. One thing is to study something with lot of effort. Another thing is, effortlessly this knowledge is sporting in your mind. That is a portion of asamsakti. Previously, there is struggle to understand Jagat is mithya. Now, wherever he sees, he is able to see this self and understand that Jagat to be mithya. So he sees his own ego and this world as a dream. This is true Atma Krida. Huh? Atma Krida, Atma Ratihi is happening here. What is his favorite sport? Falsifying the ego. And this is what we call as Jivan Mukti, where the ego is understood to be false and the world is understood to be false. What is the status of prarabdha? Prarabdha is also mithya. He doesn't struggle too much to deal with prarabdha. Rather, he questions this aspect: who is going through prarabdha? Is it the ego or the self? To an extent, it has to be managed. He manages it, but doesn't get overly bothered by it. Nor does he get anxious. That is asamsakti. World is seen like a dream. World and ego are seen like a dream. Add ego also there. Huh? Then the sixth step is padartha bhavini. Padartha abhavani, where there is no perception also of this world. No perception of this world, which means what? His nididhyasanam, samadhi avastha is very deep. Magana dhyana rasa danda juga. Punimara bahira kina. For Lord Shiva, it is said when Kamadeva comes, Lord Shiva is in dhyana not for 1 or 2 minutes, for several yugas. Magana dhyana rasa danda juga. And for us, it's a struggle to take our mind inside. For Lord Shiva, it's a struggle to take his mind out. Puni mana bahira kina. With lot of effort, he said, okay, who has come? He saw. That is this padartha bhavini, not available for the world at all. So this you can take it with different yogis. Sangdev Maharaj, in his life also it comes, he had gotten Bhuta Siddhi. He could control elements. And in Samadhi Avastha, he had pushed back death 7 or 8 times. So when he meets Namdevji Maharaj, his age is 1400 years. Because he controls the breathing and controls the elements of this body. He's able to do that. That is this Padartha Bhavini. Then the 7th one is Turiyaga. Turiyaga means there is no body identification and no perception of this world. Both are not there. This is the step just before body drops. Means imagine if somebody doesn't eat at all, doesn't do any transaction. So that is called as stage before Videha Mukti. Before this prarabdha is about to end, that is Turyaka. Okay, so Brahmavid is Sattvapatti, Asamsakti is Brahmavid Dvara. Then Padartha Bhavani is Brahmavid Variyan, and Turyaga is Brahmavid Varishtaha. So until Asamsakti, there are a lot of sadhana pointers. How we should go from one stage to another stage. And that we should note. Alabdha Bhumikatvam is feeling we have reached some place which a person has not reached. So how should we look at this? Every quality we should ask ourselves a question. Let's say in Tanumanasa, am I able to dissociate myself from conditionings? When I sit down for meditation, can I make make my mind and body as an object? Then in Sattvapatti, what is my understanding of I? Do I feel I am a creature? Or do I feel I am that substratum in which creation appears? That is the next step. And when I see the world, do I see it as conditioning? Or do I see it as conditioning plus consciousness? Or do I see it as consciousness appearing as conditioning? Three things can be there, huh? Consciousness appearing as conditioning, that is the later step, asamsakti. Sattvapatti is Brahmakara Vritti. Now, this khanda which is there has a unique aspect of sadhana. For gaining this knowledge, what are the sadhanas that are essential such that this knowledge becomes very strong? Very beautiful mantras are there, and many logos and slogans comes from these mantras, especially the next mantra, not the fifth one, but the sixth one, Satyameva Jayate. So this fifth mantra is laying the foundation for the sixth mantra. Satyena labhyastapasa hesha atma. Satyena labhyastapasa hesha atma. Samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam. Samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam. Antashsharire jyotirmayo hi shubhrah. Antashsharire jyotirmayo hi shubhrah. Yam pashyanti yataya kshina-doshaah. Yam pashyanti yataya kshina-doshaah. Satyena labhyastapasa hesha atma. Samyak jnanena brahmacharyena nityam. Antashsharire jyotirmayo hi shubhrah. Yam pashyanti yataya kshina-doshaah. Three sadhanas are mentioned by which this truth will get firmly rooted in us. Truth meaning Brahmajnanam will get firmly rooted. First sadhana is Satyena, by truthfulness. Shankaracharya translates, truthfulness is giving up untruth. He says, truth is, speaking the truth is not a cultivated new value, but the insistence on not speaking untruth. That itself is called as Satyam. We'll see more in detail. But what is truthfulness? Giving up untruth is called as truthfulness. Satyena labhya. By Satyam, this is gained. Tapasa atma labhya. By doing tapas. By disciplining mind and sense organs. Whenever they start thinking about the world, whenever they start getting stuck in something in this world, pulling both of them back and turning them towards the self, that is called as tapas. Shankaracharya says our tapasya should be favorable to self-abidance. And he says compared to fasting, compared to all other tapasyas, disciplining mind and sense organ is the closest to self-abidance. He doesn't say other tapasyas should not be done. They should be done. They have their own purpose. But when it comes to self-abidance, moksha, what we need is an obedient mind, calm and a peaceful mind. So along with fasting, if you are able to keep that, he says that will lead us to moksha quicker. Tapasa hesha atma samyak jnanena. Samyak jnana means clear knowledge. This is the main thing which will lead us to the truth. But for this jnanam to become samyak jnanam, if our knowledge is unripened right now, then there are three sadhanas which will take us there. Satyam, tapas, third one is brahmacharyena. Brahmacharya means celibacy, which gives rise to tremendous mental energy. Chaste mind has lot of power. That is the third sadhana which will lead us to the truth. Nityam. Nityam means what? It has to become our personality. Not once in a while speaking truth. Not once in a while doing tapasya. This is one who does satyapalanam, tapasya and brahmacharya all the time. How will he know the self? Antasharire jyotirmayo hi shubhraha. He will recognize the self in his own heart as the resplendent, effulgent truth, jyotirmaya, which is of the nature of consciousness. Yam pashyanti yatayah kshina doshaha. Yatayah means whose personality is to strive and put forth sincere effort. Yati word we have heard, right? Yati literally we translate it as sannyasi. But who is a sannyasi? Who is a yati? One who has struggled hard to cultivate satyam, to cultivate tapas, and to cultivate brahmacharya. That person is called a yati, and here they are called as yatayaha. Many yatis who are seeing this, they will come to see this Atma. Another adjective for this yati says kshina doshaha. Shankaracharya says these are people who have mastered all their limitations, starting with anger, etc. They don't allow anger to overshadow this knowledge. They don't allow any vice to take away this knowledge. They are called as kshina doshaha. This is the simple meaning of this verse. But the three sadhanas which are mentioned, we have to reflect more on them. So let us take the first one, called as Satyam. How did we translate Satyam? Giving up untruth is Satyam. Intense desire that may I not speak untruth. That is called as Satyam. Now somebody takes up something or gives up something based on their convictions. If you tell somebody, stop eating sweets, or let's say that person into some addiction, if you tell that person, stop doing that. Now, when will he stop doing that? When he gets conviction about the consequences of continuing that thing. Smoking, for example. I had met one person, he said, his daughter came up to him and said, Dad, why are you doing this to me? She was hardly in second grade or something. Somewhere she heard about the consequences. And she just made that one statement, "Why are you doing this to me?" He said, "For 15 years, I have not gone back." That one sentence opened up many things. So, what decides whether we drop something or not? What is our conviction about that thing? If you are convinced about the consequences, and based on that we form our convictions, very quickly we will drop it. Now, if we want to drop untruth, there can be few convictions a person might have about untruth. Based on that, he will pick or drop it. First conviction is, in Kali Yuga, only untruth leads to happiness. Person could have it, huh? One best example for this was Shakuni. We say we should take ashraya in Bhagavan. His ashraya was in deceit. He says, unless you speak untruth, unless you do something wrong, it will not bring happiness. We are living in Kali Yuga. They will also give some hetu, some reason. Second conviction is, now and then you have to take shelter of untruth to be happy. Majority of the times, truthfulness is okay. But now and then you have to speak untruth to be happy, depending on the situation. This is the second one. What was the first one? Only untruth leading to happiness. Second one is, occasional untruth is okay. And that will lead me to happiness. Third one is, untruth can never bring happiness in my life. Any untruth, the consequences can never be good. This is the third conviction. Based on our conviction, either it is 1, 2, or 3. Based on that, we will be able to keep or drop untruth. What is sadhaka's dilemma? See, very likely sadhaka will not fall in the first category. If he feels untruth only is going to lead me to happiness, he says he will not be even a sadhaka. If he's in the third category, where he says untruth can never lead me to happiness, he is already a perfected person. What is his problem? The second category. Because in part he feels truthfulness alone brings happiness. If you ask him to teach his child, what will he teach? Untruth brings happiness or truth brings happiness? He will teach truth brings happiness only. If he was in first category, his upadesha would be different. So here he is teaching truth brings happiness, but on the other hand, he sees those who are holding to untruth, they are going further in life. So part of him believes maybe sometimes untruth is needed to go further. Now, what is his sadhana here when it is said Satyena Labhyaha? His sadhana here is he has to do some experiments with truth. And at the same time, he has to do experiments with untruth. Gandhiji has a book, Mahatma Gandhiji, My Experiments with Truth. Means what? I did not take this because somebody has told me. I myself tried and tested it. And my conclusion is, whenever I have held on to the truth, whenever I have spoken the truth, my mind is free. Mind is more cheerful. Mind is happier by speaking the truth. And same thing he has experimented with untruth also. Whenever I have spoken untruth, there is more agitation. And in future, there is more guilt and sorrow. Because something you have said somewhere, that same thing comes back in different way. And this could be small, small things. He says, in that also, he notes that whenever I've held on to the truth, my mind is free. So that becomes his experiments with truth and untruth. Based on that, he's able to go to the third conviction. What is the third conviction? Untruth can never lead me to happiness. Even if I'm seeing somebody else who is going ahead by doing untruth, that result of going ahead is coming from his past truth. Whatever truthfulness, good things he has done in the past, that is showing up here as these results, good results. A result of bad action can never be good. A result of adharma can never be happiness. A result of untruth can never be happiness. This is something he has not figured out by reading a book. This is something that he has experienced in his life. That whenever I have lied, I have felt distanced from God. Whenever I have spoken untruth, my mind has become more impure. And most importantly, we lose trust in ourselves. This mind which takes shelter of untruth. He says these are the things he has seen. Therefore, he is able to give up untruth. This is the definition of truthfulness. What is truthfulness? Giving up untruth. But to give up untruth, we need to see what is our conviction about untruth. For getting that conviction, we should do some experiments. Now, if somebody says, okay, I'm inspired to walk on this path of truthfulness, but I am truthful in general in my life, where should I start? What is expected as far as sadhana is concerned? See, in any sadhana, one thing we should notice, it should start with us. We should not start inquiring into truthfulness as how should we practice truthfulness in a world which is having untruth. World you leave aside for a minute. Just focus on our journey. And also don't start with gray areas first. This is one of the things which we see when we discuss Satyam. Let's say you give example of Yudhishthira. He was a person of truth. What is the first thing people want to analyze? How come he said Ashwatthamahatah? Are Yudhishthira lived his life in such a graceful way, and one sentence he said Ashwatthamahatah. So majority discussion is on, did he speak the truth or untruth? He said, don't go to gray areas first, start with the basics. First expression of truth is in self-evaluation. When we look at ourselves, where are we right now as far as our sadhana is concerned? As far as devotion is concerned? Qualities are concerned, values are concerned. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam is concerned. Where are we right now? And where do scriptures want us to be? First expression of truthfulness is in this honest self-evaluation. Before we think about speaking truth with others, practicing truth, first implementation of truth is where am I right now and where I need to be. And if you honestly inquire, very often we will find there is a long journey to walk. not to discourage us in our journey, but it is just to get an honest report card. Based on that, we can course correct and move quicker towards our goal. Otherwise, what happens is, if we are not truthful in this self-inquiry, self-evaluation, very likely our mind will tell us we are perfect. And instead of living like a sadhu, instead of being a sadhu, we will try to look like a sadhu. Instead of actually being a sadhu, we will try to portray ourselves, show ourselves like a sadhu. So, this truthfulness in really inquiring what are our limitations and where are we right now, that honest self evaluation will lead to self discovery. Self evaluation, small s, evaluating our mind and ahankar. Self discovery, capital S. So, Satyam in Vyavahara, Satyam in transactional world, in evaluating myself, will lead me towards absolute Satyam one day. If I don't do it, I will live in some illusion of perfection. Another irony is nobody else can do it for us. Who can peep into our mind and say what is there? We ourselves will have to do it for our own spiritual growth. So that is practice of Satyam as far as individual is concerned. Shri Ganeshaya Namaha should happen from here. Honesty in self-evaluation. Now comes Satyam. What is the nature of Satyam while interacting with others? Again, the purpose of discussion on Satyam is not how can we make the whole world truthful. What is the discussion here? While interacting with the world, how can I hold on to the truth? How does it look? See, truthfulness, Satyam, is one quality which will bring several other good qualities. For example, Satyam, if somebody is able to hold on to, giving up untruth, that person's raga dvesha has to be weakened. You will say, what is the relationship between truthfulness and raga dvesha? See, wherever we have raga, wherever we have attachment, we don't see anything wrong there. Everything is perfect. And wherever we have hatred, we don't see anything good. So what will a Satyavadi have to do? Even in that person whom he doesn't get along well, if that person has good qualities, he will not hesitate to mention it. What has happened in and through this? His dvesha has gotten weakened. And that person whom he is so attached to, if his duty demands he has to point out certain things, he will not hesitate to. Best example is child. Mother or father is always attached to the child. But practice of truthfulness there is, if the child's behavior needs some correction, our attachment should not overpower the truth. So mother or father will not hesitate to correct the child if they are holding on to this value of truthfulness. Otherwise, that attachment will overpower. The way the child walks, the way he talks to elders. In all these things, if there is correction needed, our attachment should not overpower this duty. And in the person towards whom we have enmity. He says there, if we see something good, practice of Satyam is this person doesn't hesitate to mention it. Now, another value that this Satyam will bring is it will make us a deep thinker. Person who is impulsive cannot speak the truth because very quickly he will form opinions and blurt out something. So if we are holding on to untruth, expression of that is we will be impulsive. And if we hold on to the truth, expression of that is we will think 100 times before forming opinions and before giving opinions. Because unless you think, you cannot make an opinion. You cannot form an opinion about anything properly. So that Satyam will make this person a deep thinker. So we saw what is the practice of Satyam as far as individual is concerned. And what is practice of Satyam as far as world is concerned. So the same Satyam will express as different values. There are several other values, but we won't have time to think about it. We can do our own mananam, how Satyam brings all these values. Ahimsa, for example. How Satyam brings ahimsa. We should think more. Now, what is the benefit of this Satyam? Immediate benefit is mind is available for Brahma Vichara. Mind is available for thinking about Brahman. Self-abidance is easier. But even in transactional life, Patanjali Maharishi says, Satya Pratisthayam Kriya Phala Ashrayatvam. If somebody is able to abide in the truth, Patanjali Maharishi says that person will have immense power in his speech. And whatever he says will come true. Whatever he says will come true. He says that is the power of Satyam. Now the last topic is, what are the gray areas? Because in Satyam, there are many areas which are not clear. One distinction we can make is Satyam spoken to protect the ego, or Asatyam spoken to protect one's ego. Not Satyam spoken, untruth spoken. Asatyam spoken to protect one's ego, and untruth spoken to protect somebody else's emotions. There is a difference. And small untruth. Let's say somebody gets late for some meeting. And that person started late from home. He didn't plan his time well, started late from home. But everybody asks him, why are you late? He says, I was stuck in traffic. Now, it might be true. He might be stuck in traffic. But that statement, I am stuck in traffic, why is he uttering it? To protect his ego. He says he arrived at one meeting. He says, arrived at a meeting late. He says, why were you late? My previous meeting ran over. Whatever those reasons are, they are given not for any other reason, but to protect this ego. Now take another example. If somebody learnt singing and they specially came and sang a song for you, different pitch. In one song only they went on different swaras, different shruti. Tala was betala, swara was asura, everything. And finally they come and say, how was my singing? Now even if you feel like giving the right feedback, what should you be saying there? It was good. It was good. Because you are not that person's music teacher. If it was music teacher, then they should correct. It is not our dharma to correct. So just say it is good. Or somebody makes something with lot of love, some sweet they made, totally bland. In the pursuit of making it healthy, very, very bland. No sugar, nothing. And they ask, how is it? You appreciate the effort and you say, it was good. Now, if you are saying this, are we speaking untruth? Because it's matter of fact. The song was not good and you said it was good. You did not like something and you said it was good. He says, no, that kind of untruth is sadhana. Because truth has to be spoken in a way that it is dear to the other person. If truth creates more agitation, truth creates more disturbance, it is better to be quiet. So that gray area, we have to pay very careful attention. Whatever statement I am making, is it for other person's sake, to give joy to that person, being sensitive to that person's emotion, or is it the first one, to protect my own ego? Another very, very important aspect of this Satyam is only a person who has Vairagya can practice Satyam. Because giving up untruth and holding on to the truth means it is possible that we might have to let go of some immediate benefit. If we write something somewhere which we don't really have, and that thing would get us something, still this person says, I don't want it. I might as well get those qualifications first, then get what I want, and the Lord will give me much more than what I've asked. So what is needed there to hold on to the truth? Vairagya. If I'm very attached to something, even holding on to untruth, I will want it. And if I'm detached, I say whenever that thing has to come, it will come. My purpose is to keep my mind on the Lord. Even if it doesn't come, I'm okay. Swami Vivekananda says, this Maya is a very strange entity. The more you run away from it, it will follow you. And more we run towards it, it will run away. Just like a shadow. You run towards the shadow to catch it, it will keep running away. This is Goswamiji's example. He says, you turn towards Rama, walk towards him, shadow will follow you. So that quality a person should have. Vairagya, that will bring us to Satyam. Okay, so we saw different points about Satyam. What is more important is, how has this quality opened up in our life? If we just translate Satyam as truthfulness, sadhana doesn't happen. So I should see my conviction, I should see my self-evaluation, apply it in self-evaluation, apply it in my transactions with others. Can I speak about the good qualities of the person whom I don't get along with? And can I tell that person directly? That is even greater. So all these things are part of the sadhana. Next session, we will just see the bhashya, and this mantra we will conclude. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. Hari Om.